Thank you for tuning into TTV. I'm your host, Toya, and today is Herbal Tuesday, where I bring information to you about different herbs. And today is no different, except for we're going to talk about essential oils. Now, if you've watched my channel before, you've heard me speak on essential oils before, and that I am a distributor for Young Living, which is an essential oil company. They do not sponsor me, I'm just a distributor for them. And I told you, as I learn more about essential oils and how to apply them, in my day to day life, I will share this information with you as well as, I learn. You'll learn. And today is the first lesson. Okay. Now, when you get into essential oils, most people only have three questions, or first three questions is, what is it? How is it going to benefit me? And why does it cost so much? So those are the three questions that I'm going to focus on answering today for you. But I do implore you to listen to the very end, because I don't want you to go out and just rush out and get anything off the shelf, because you might be causing yourself more harm than good. So please watch until the end as I give you this information, because this will be a longer video than normal because it's a lot of information to provide. So we're going to start out with the beginning. Essential oils have been used for thousands and thousands of years. In the Bible, they make reference to essential oils 188 times. So it's a big deal. Okay. In addition to that, you can even go back and do research about how it was used during the Egyptian times. Okay. Because they used to make it and use it and apply it as well. So it's not something that is just trendy right now or some fad that people are getting into. There's a true benefit to it. And it's on the physical as well as the spiritual side working together. Okay, and like I said, I'm going to get more into this and explaining all of this. One of the first things I do want to speak on and mention is we're going to start out with the components. Yes, I took notes so I can give y'all all the information, because like I said, it's a lot that I'm about to go into. So if you've watched my show before, you've heard me speak on herbs themselves. So herbs are very good for the body. They do a lot for the body. And although they may have one or two or three specific things that they're good for, there actually can be other things that they're good for as well. And so I'm going to use alfalfa as an example. Okay, so alfalfa is really good if you have arthritis pain. Okay, it's really good at going in and helping repair and heal the joint pain. Which reminds me, I need to do my disclaimer, because I don't want nobody coming after me. And I did not pull it up, so bear with me 1 second. Because I don't want somebody to say, well, Toya said no. Let me cover my butt right now and give y'all this disclaimer. Okay, so the statements that I make today have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, this product or essential oils in general. I'm not speaking on them as intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. It is not intended for use by pregnant or nursing women. And if you have some kind of medical condition or taking medication, consult your doctor or your pharmacist and discontinue use. If adverse actions occur. Okay, so now that I cover my butt, let me get back into it. So, like alfalfa. So alfalfa is very good on joint pain. Okay, so anytime you have joint pain like arthritis, it can really get in there and help. Okay, in addition to that, though, it's also really good for heart disease because it's very high in CoQ10. CoQ10, which is good for your heart. It also can help feed and nourish your entire body. Okay, so it has components in it that will feed. That's why they give alfalfa to the cows, to make them big and healthy. That's why they eat it. So just like that thing, like the alfalfa has that one specific where it really helps with the joint, it does these other things as well. And it's the same with all herbs. Okay, so all herbs have the potential to do more than one thing. And so any variation of the herb that you're using, whether it's dried, whether it's an extract, or whether it's an essential oil, it's going to be able to do more. It's more than just the one thing. And that's because it is heterogeneous is what they call it. Meaning that it can perform more than one task, basically. You can do more than one thing. Okay? Now, one of the things about it that they did a study on, it was the American Medical Associates. What they said was, because essential oils can help with the brain. So what they said was is that there's a part of the brain that they call a blood-brain membrane, and they can't get past it. They can't find anything to get past this membrane. And what this membrane does is it helps to prevent damage from coming into it. So the free radicals and things that will get in there and damage our DNA and damage soft tissues and stuff like that can't get past this membrane. It's a protection that we have on the brain. And because they can't find anything to get through it and get past it, they say that that's why they can't find anything to help with Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease, Lou Gehrig's disease, multiple sclerosis, all of those. That's why they can't really help with that too much, because they can't get past this membrane. Well, there was a research that was done by the Medical University of Germany, Berlin, Vienna, Austria. I think I'm missing one country. But they did a study, and what they found out is, let me make sure I say this word right. Okay, sequenterpenes. That sequenterpenes can actually get through that blood-brain membrane can get past it. Okay, so that's what they needed, something to get past it. Well, sequenterpenes, these medical terms I'm telling you, can get past that blood-brain barrier. So what does that mean with essential oils? Well, there are two essential oils that are very high in those sequenterpenes and can get through. Okay, they can get through. So what does that mean? That means they can increase the oxygen in the brain, and by increasing the oxygen, they increase the secretion of antibodies, of antibodies, neurotransmitters, and endorphins. That was the one I was trying to figure out. Endorphins. Now, endorphins are those feel good drugs, the drugs that make you happy, that your body, the chemical that your body actually produces naturally, that makes you feel good and alive. Okay, it's the thing that drug addicts are chasing and craving. And when you get well, not necessarily with the alcohol, because that's a suppressant, but when you're talk about those drugs and the opioids, that's the feeling that they're looking for, because it's what your body naturally produces. Okay, neurotransmitter are those synapses in the system that actually tells your brain, telling your body what to do. Okay, and then you have your antibodies, which basically just help keep your body healthy. So when you get the increase of these sequenterpenes, you get the increase of oxygen, and your body starts to secrete more of these, the antibodies, endorphins, and neurotransmitters. Okay, now what that means is that it will support the brain's limbic system. Okay, and if you want to know what the limbic system is, check down below. I found a video that was like a 2-minute video that explained the limbic system, so you can look at the brain's limbic system. So you can look at that below to get some more information. It's just 2 minutes, but it helps with the limbic system. Now, because it helps with the limbic system, part of the limbic system is there's this gland. It's called the amygdala gland. The amygdala. I cannot pronounce this stuff, y'all. Amygdala. I have to look at the word to pronounce it right. That's why I keep looking down. Okay, so the amygdala gland stores and releases emotion. Okay, so if it stores and releases emotion, then it can release emotional trauma that you have. But again, the only way to get to it is through aromatherapy. So what are these two essential oils that I'm talking about that's going to help, produce more neurotransmitters and antibodies and endorphins and, help with your emotional releases and traumatic releases? It is frankincense and sandalwood. Those two essential oils help to your brain function. Okay, help to get past that blood-brain membrane, so that it can get to the point where it helps to oxygenate, to help you develop more neurotransmitters, more antibodies, more endorphins, and work with the amygdala. Now, the amygdala really focuses on, as far as the limbic system goes, and with the essential oils getting in there and you inhaling them, it helps with the pituitary gland and the pineal gland. Now, the pituitary gland is the one that regulates your hormones. The pineal gland is the one that creates melatonin. It does some other stuff too that scientists say, but really it's the melatonin. The melatonin is a natural chemical that your body makes to help you go to sleep. It's just as you get older, your body starts to produce less. And part of the reason I believe that it produces less is because it gets calcified. Now, this is where we get into the spiritual side of it. So, the pineal gland is believed to be your third eye. So, it's your connection to the cosmos, the universe, to the other side with your ancestors and all of that. And so, when it's calcified, you can't connect. And so you feel lost. You feel like you don't have the clarity. You don't have the direction. You don't know what it is you're doing. You struggle. Even when your amygdala gland is out of balance and you're anxious, you're experiencing more fear and all these things that are going on. So those essential oils will actually help to calm all of that and actually help to clear your pineal gland, which again, third eye. Now, with that being said, it's another component I did want to share with you guys as well when it comes to that spiritual side. So again, if you listen to any of the previous videos that I've done, you know I'm big on energy. Everything around you is energy. What you're watching this video on is energy. The chair that you're sitting in is energy. The floor you're standing on is energy. Their body is a walking battery of energy, okay? And our soul is what basically provides the energy for our body to function, okay? The soul is the energy inside this battery called our body. And so because everything functions on energy moves, and as it moves with a vibration, okay? So you have the vibration of the energy, and then because it's vibrating, there's a sound or tone that goes with it, which is called the hertz. So there was a guy, his name is Tineo, of Teneo Technology in Shane, Washington. So what he did is he created this machine that could actually read the megahertz that are given off by different things, okay? And primarily what he was checking was with the human body, with disease, and with food, okay? So those are the primary areas that he was checking. Now, what he found is that the human brain, so our brain, functions between 72 and 90 megahertz, okay? The human body during the day functions between 62 to 68 megahertz. Now, this is where it starts to get interesting. So when you have a disease or you have some ailment or something like that, it's a drop in the frequency, because that means whatever that area is that sickness is in is vibrating at a lower vibration, okay? So at a lower frequency. And because of that lower frequency, that's one of the components, because I don't think there's one answer for anything, but that's one of the components that contributes to you having that dis-ease, which is why they call it dis-ease, because, off vibration. So he found that at 58 megahertz, that's what the symptoms of the common cold that vibrate at, is 58. The flu is 57. Candida, which is a yeast that is in the body. Women, we know it because we end up with yeast infections. But it's one that is one of the main contributors to your desire for sugar. It's in your gut and stuff. But it feeds off of sugar. So when you have that sweet tooth and increases sugar, more than likely you have Candida yeast in you. And so it says that functions at like 55 megahertz. Cancer at 42 megahertz. And then death begins at 25 megahertz. Okay, so that's when the body starts to shut down and energy really starts to leave. Now, that's the body. So that's the organic part of it. Now, on the other flip side, what he found is that your processed canned food has zero vibration. Zero. Okay? Zero. Okay, so after reading this, the only canned foods that I typically buy, and I don't know if this even applies to this or not, but it's like jackfruit and tomatoes and sometimes beans. So guess who's gonna stop buying the stuff in a can? Okay, because it processes at zero. Okay, it's dead. That's basically what you're saying. Although what I said isn't, jackfruit isn't processed, so it probably wouldn't be the same thing for the jackfruit because it's not a processed food. But like your green beans and corn and potatoes and all, zero. So the spaghettios you love and get to your kids, zero. Okay, that Kraft macaroni and cheese, zero. There's no vibration at all to it. It is dead. Okay, that's what that is saying. It looked at fresh produce, and fresh produce had megahertz up to 15 megahertz. Okay, dry herbs was 12 to 22 megahertz. Fresh herbs were 20 to 27 megahertz. And then here's the kicker: essential oils. He didn't do extracts because I would be curious to see what the extracts were, but essential oils function at 50 to 320 megahertz. Now, why is that significant? Why does that matter? That means by using those essential oils, they can raise the vibration of those areas that you're having those ailments in. So, like it said with the common cold is 58 megahertz. If you can do essential oils like the one Young Living has called Raven, I think it is, it actually helps promote breathing better. Okay, it goes in, it helps you breathe better. Or eucalyptus, it helps you breathe better. It's going to raise your vibration, and in raising your vibration, it makes it to where the cold can't function because you're too high. You're too high for the symptoms. So what ends up happening is it dies off, and you end up being left without the symptoms. So that is significant. Okay, 52 to 320 megahertz for essential oils. Now, let's get into the costly part, because that's one of the things that people always talk. It costs so much. Okay, well, medicine costs a lot too, but you go out and you get that. So, and I'm not judging you. Look, I'm not trying to spend nobody pocket money. Okay, what happens in your life is what happens in your life. I just know that certain things, certain things, if it's going to benefit you in the long run, and it's not going to cause detriment to your body, to me, it makes it worth it. Its value goes up. So when it comes to the essential oils, the reason it costs so much, or the reason that there's a higher cost, is because it's a different process to it. Now, you have some people saying that essential oils that they selling these essential oils, and all they did was take a herb, put it in some oil, and let it soak, and then or infuse for however long they did it, and now it's an essential oil. That is not true. That is an infused oil. Okay, and I'm not demeaning it. Infused oils have their benefits as well, especially in cooking. You can use a rose petal infused oil that can act as an antiseptic and help with pain relief. So they have their place, but it's not the same thing. And that's the problem I have, is people will say, oh, this is an essential oil. No, it's not an essential oil. You have the other thing is extracts. Extracts are soaked in grain oil. Not grain oil, but in a grain alcohol. So like usually it's vodka. Like, what is that, Everclear, which is really high, something like that. They soak it in alcohol because that alcohol will pull out everything that's in it. And if you think about that, I didn't think about that till just now. So if alcohol will pull all the nutrients out of the herb or out of the plant in order for you to take it and get the benefit of it, what does it do to your body when we sit back and we drink? That's food for thought. This is food for thought. Like I said, that just came to me while I was talking. But in any case, that's an extract, because the alcohol is extracting the benefits and the herbs essence and chemical properties. Is pulling it out. Okay, when you talk about essential oils, it's a much complex process, or and I don't want to say complex, but it's more steps to it. It's not an easy process, because what you're basically doing is you're distilling herbs. Now, to distill liquid, like my water here, I distill my own water, which basically pulls the impurities and stuff out of it, to where you're basically just drinking steam water, which has nothing in it. But it's the same process, except for you're doing this with an actual plant. And so in order to do it with the plant, you need a lot of it. So for them to make like a pound of, we'll say frankincense, because that's what I use. In order for them to make a pound of frankincense oil, they have to use a ton of frankincense. Okay. So you talk about like if I use an ounce of herbs, I might get 4 drops of oils, of essential oils out of that pound of herbs. So it takes a lot of herbs in order to make the essential oils. Now, we have to backtrack a little further. How were these herbs grown? How were they grown to begin with? Did they get the nutrients that they need? Did they get the sun that they need? When was it harvested? Who harvested? How was it harvested? All of that plays a role in the quality of the essential oil. Then you get to the actual process of the distilling of it. It's not just you throw some herbs and distill it. It's another process that goes to that. And all of those different variants make a difference on whether you have a good product or a bad product. So if I'm trying to find a way to cut costs, and although I know, like, I'm going to use Iron Mountain because that's who I go to for my herbs. Iron Mountain has a very particular standard that they have for their herbs. But Joe Blow over here doesn't, theirs costs a lot cheaper. Yeah, some of the practices aren't the same. Yeah, they might use some pesticides. I don't know. But I can cut costs going over there than I could staying here with this pure herb. So I'm going to go over there. Speaking of pure herbs, that's also why I am a distributor for pure herbs as well, is because they have a very high standard on their herbs that they get, just like Young Living. So I can go to Joe Blow and get this cheap stuff, and then I'm gonna sell. That's what I'm gonna use to make my essential oils, because where I can spend $500 on a ton of frankincense with them, over here it might be $2,000. So I'm gonna go get the 500, and that's what I'm gonna use to make. Okay, so you have to be careful about who it is that you go get the essential oils, because there's so many components to actually making it other than just distilling some herbs. Another factor that you have to be careful of is some of them will take those essential oils. So I've already used that $500 instead of the $2,000 distributor. In addition to that, let me get this cheap oil, whether it's vegetable oil or whatever kind of oil I can get a hold of that's going to be really cheap for me, and then I'm going to dilute what I get out of Joe Blow over there. Or if I add these perfumes to it, I can make it stretch because I can give it a stronger smell added to this essential oil. So by the time you get to that essential oil, it's been so diluted, distorted, got chemicals and things in it, and it's not a pure herb anymore. So when you go to get your essential oils, you want to make sure you're getting a therapeutic blend, okay? It's actually called pure therapeutic grade of essential oils, because outside of that, there's no telling what you're going to get. Now, forgive me, I don't know the names of the companies, but Young Living, the stuff that doesn't pass their test, it's still good, but it doesn't meet their standard, they sell to this other company. It starts with a D. I want to say it's like Dose or something, but they sell it to them. So yes, theirs is going to be cheaper because they're getting it from somebody else, but it's still on the expensive side because it's still a really good product. It's just, it doesn't meet the standards of Young Living. And then whatever this other company, like I said, I don't remember the name, so forgive me. Whatever they don't use, they give to somebody else. They sell to somebody else. And so that person, like, okay, it doesn't have the, the quality has gone down, but it's still better than a lot of the other crap that you would have on the market. And again, I apologize, I don't remember the names of those companies. But in essence, what I'm saying is that it'll keep going down and keep getting sold. Like, okay, whatever they don't want, they sell to somebody else. That somebody else is now cutting it and adding other stuff to it, and you end up with who knows what. So just make sure you get a pure therapeutic grade. And if you get a pure therapeutic grade of essential herbs, you can actually ingest some of them. Not all of them, some of them. So like, especially the food ones, like the lemon. If you get a lemon essential oils that's a pure therapeutic grade, you can actually put it in your water. You can cook with it. Same thing with cinnamon. You can do more with these herbs. You can even put it on your skin and not have issues with it. There's also some other essential oils that you can put on your skin as well. You just might have to have a carrier oil with it. Like put it in a carrier oil like jojoba oil, and then you can use it on your actual skin and get the benefits of it. But a lot of times, and the reason why it is so widely recommended that you do not ingest essential oils is because what you see on the market and what you see in these shelves, they're not pure. No matter what they're saying on their label, they're not pure. And so it can cause more harm and more toxins to you and hurt you more than it would help you. And that's what made me decide to be a part of Young Living, because they have that higher standard. It actually ends up being like food. Not to say that all their herbs can, like all the essential oils can be ingested. They tell you which ones can and which ones can't. But some of them can actually be ingested. They have one that's even for your digestive system to help, ease bloating and discomfort that you may have. Maybe you overate and you can put a couple of drops of this digest aid in and drink it, and it'll help, soothe your stomach and help your digestion. So, or like I said, with the lemon, or they have a cinnamon one you cook with. They have different ones that you can actually ingest, and that's because they are a therapeutic food grade essential oil. So again, before you go rushing out to the local store or the health store to get these essential oils, be very careful with it if you're going to ingest it. The only one that I would recommend if you plan on ingesting anything is Young Living, and that's only the ones that they tell you you can ingest. Okay. Otherwise, they tell you which ones need a carrier oil. Like all their information they provide, they are a wealth of information. So if you want additional information, you can actually go on my site, which is www.my Young Living, which is just the initials YL.com/U as an umbrella, D as in David, G as in George. So that's my YL. I get to the end and start messing up. myYL.com/UDG. Again, the link is below if you want to check it out. Also, if you need if you need not essential oils, if you also need extracts, if you're looking to get some extracts, you just contact me, direct message me, and I can get you some of those as well. But anyway, like I said, as I learn more about the essential oils, I want to present this information to you so that you can educate yourself as well. I know this was a lot longer than anticipated, which means it's going to take me a while to upload it, but that's okay because I wanted to share this with you. So if you got anything out of this content, please like, subscribe, and share, because if you got anything out of it, chances are someone else will as well. I love you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.